G'day everyone and welcome back to another one of my trip reports. Now, Adelaide to Melbourne, there are many ways you can get there. You can fly, which I normally do. You can drive, and I've done that a few times as well. You can go the direct way, which takes about 9.5 hours. Or you can do it via the Great Ocean Road, which takes about 17 hours. I've actually done the Great Ocean Road myself about 5 times in my life. Don't have to do it again. But today I'm doing something a little different. I'm heading there by train. I'm here at the Adelaide Parkland Terminal, and today I'll be on the Overland. It's one of the greatest rail journeys in this world, which is operated by Journey Beyond. They are a company that's also responsible for rail journeys like you've got the Ghan that goes from Adelaide to Darwin, and you've also got the Indian Pacific, which goes from Sydney to Perth. And there is also the Great Southern, which goes from Adelaide to Brisbane. So today I'll be on the Overland that goes to Melbourne from Adelaide. So I can't wait to experience this journey. So let's do this. The Overland train service takes 10.5 hours to cover a distance of 886 kilometers. It departs Adelaide every Thursday and Sunday at 7:45 in the morning. Today, we have a total of 35 passengers spread over 2 classes, Red and Red Premium. I will go into detail later in the journey to show you the difference between these 2 classes. Boarding commenced at about 7:15. Our names were ticked off the list to make sure we didn't board the wrong carriage because of the different classes involved. The carriage ahead of us was the Café, then followed by 2 Red class carriages in front of it. Red Premium class was configured in a spacious 2x1. If you are a solo traveller, this single seat would be most ideal. Waiting at my seat was a sanitizing wipe, which I could use to clean the surfaces around me if so I wished. If you had a larger sized luggage, it was checked in. Otherwise, your carry-on could be stowed in the racks above or just placed in front of you. Legroom is humongous, by the way, no issues there. Your seat also came with a foldable table stowed in the armrest. There's also a reading lamp, not that you need it because this is a daytime journey.
So firstly, the toilet for this carriage is up the front here behind the curtain. To get in, you push the green button on the outside to make the door open. It does close after a few seconds once you've stepped in, or you can make it close by pushing the green button on the inside. And when it's shut, there's a red round lock button. You must push that to lock it. If you don't lock it, it will indicate that it's available and someone will walk in on you with your pants down. It does happen a few times.
The price of a Red Premium ticket includes 3 meals and accompanied drinks. I am hungry just looking at the menu. Alcoholic drinks are purchased at the Café carriage in front of us. As we pulled away from Adelaide, it wasn't long before we were winding up the slopes of Adelaide Hills. Passing by Blackwood and Mount Lofty, it would be a little bit more than an hour towards our next stop at Murray Bridge. This first sector was used for our breakfast service. It started with a hot mug of black tea with milk, freshly prepared in front of you. Can you tell just how relaxed I'm becoming? The main meal arrived not too long after. I decided to order the omelette with spinach and cheese. It was also served with buttered toast, bacon, and baked beans. With breakfast done and dusted, it was time to leave the seat in a reclined position, kick up your feet, and start savouring this journey properly. Our next stop, Murray Bridge, isn't far off. Our stop at Murray Bridge was very brief, only a few minutes. We picked up some more passengers who would join us the rest of the way to Melbourne. Murray Bridge has an urban population of slightly over 18,000 people, making it the fifth most populous city in South Australia after Adelaide, Mount Gambier, Gawler and Whyalla. The Murray River is Australia's longest river at 2,508 kilometres. It flows through South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales. Let's take a look at the Café carriage. If you don't think the meals provided are filling enough, you can buy some more stuff to eat here. There are sandwiches, snacks, pies, you name it. This is the cabin for Red service. There is a capacity for 60 passengers per carriage, making space for a total of 120 passengers. Although we had 2 Red service carriages attached, only one carriage was occupied. It is definitely a lot cozier in here, and there is no meal service included for this carriage. Meals can be purchased at the cafe I just passed earlier on. So here we are, guys. We're deep into this train journey, and we are just approaching the border of South Australia. And this is the fantastic thing about having a train journey, because you get to stretch your legs, walk around the train, and there is the Red Premium service, the Red Premium class, which I'm in, which is the cabin over there. And here you have the cafe, and on the other end is the Red cabin. So you have the Red Premium and the Red cabin over there, which is separated by this cafe in the middle. There are a total of 35 passengers we have today, and there's 17 of us in Red Premium, and the rest of them are in Red. So not a lot of passengers here, which I suppose is easy for the crew, easy for them to manage. Yeah, so it's so relaxing. I don't know what took me so long to get on this train, because there is a sense of romance of travel when you get on the train. You're not rushing to go anywhere. You are just enjoying the view out there. And it's interesting because you get to see another perspective of the journey you normally take from Adelaide to Melbourne. And this probably won't be my last time doing this because yeah, I never expected to enjoy it so much. I was so afraid that I was going to get bored, but I'm not. This is actually so relaxing. It's more relaxing than I thought it is. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Really, really, very much. Yeah. Cheers, guys. This is good coffee. Our next stop is Bordertown in South Australia. It's called Bordertown because, well, it's located near the state border with Victoria, about 250 kilometers east of Adelaide. The largest single employer is an abattoir, which processes up to 8,000 animals per day and employs around 470 people. Almost 2/3 of the employees are migrants to Australia, including refugees, skilled migrants from at least 23 different home culture groups. There are currently about 2,900 people living in Bordertown.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bordertown, which means that we must do a couple of things at this point in time. Firstly, our clocks and timepieces must go forward by half an hour to come to line with Eastern Standard Time. So, correct time on train now is 1 minute, nearly 2 minutes past 12, so half an hour forward, folks. And now that we have gone through Bordertown, it is mandatory to wear face masks in line with the Victorian COVID restrictions. So could everyone please get their face masks out? If you do not have one, folks, please come around the Café car. We do have spare ones, but face masks must be worn by everybody into Melbourne. Thank you.
After we crossed into Victoria, it was time for lunch. We had a total of 3 options. I'm not a sandwich kind of guy, and I'm also not a vegetarian aficionado. Therefore, the only hearty, meaty option was a buffalo masaman curry. Masaman is a curry from southern Thailand. I'm normally skeptical about curries in Australia, so I approached it with managed expectations. How wrong was I? It packed a punch, and the flavors would have made my Thai aunties very proud. As we were finishing lunch, we came to a stop at Nhill, a town in the Wimmera in Western Victoria. Nhill is located on the Western Highway halfway between Adelaide and Melbourne. At the 2016 census, Nhill had a population of 1,749 people. Nhill is believed to be a Wagaya word meaning early morning mist rising over water. Nhill is the administrative headquarters for the Shire of Hindmarsh, and the residents are mainly employed in either farming or food processing. The town is home to a community of Karen people from Myanmar. Originally coming to Australia as refugees, the Karen community has settled in Nhill since the early 2010s to work at Love a Duck food processing facility. In 2012, there were over 100 Karen residents still residing in Nhill. The lunch service concluded after we left Nhill. We were served a dessert which was a white chocolate vanilla slice. It was exquisitely decadent. If I wasn't watching my sugar intake, I would have asked for another slice because I noticed they did have extra leftovers. With every town that we've pulled into so far, I've seen at least a bunch of locals turning up just to see the train come and go. They would normally wave as we pass, which was a very endearing sight. This could be an indication of how crucial rail services like this one is to regional communities out there. Next stop is the town called Stawell? Now it's pronounced as Stawell. It's one of the few towns in Victoria retaining an active gold mining industry. It's also one of the gateway towns to the Grampians National Park. Ararat was first settled by Europeans in the early 1840s. In 1857, a party of Chinese miners struck gold at Canton Lead, which marked the beginning of great growth in Ararat. The Chinese community was very substantial in this town. The Kamsan Heritage Center in town commemorates the history of this community. I was woken up by the attendant for a snack service before our next stop at Geelong. We had a choice of a cherry slice or cheese with crackers. I went with the cheese and had a cup of tea. I was honestly still pretty full from all the food I've eaten so far. Geelong is a port city located 75 kilometers southwest of Melbourne. It is the second largest Victorian city with an estimated urban population of just over 260,000 people. It is also Australia's second fastest growing city. Geelong is the last stop on this journey before our final stop at Melbourne's Southern Cross Station. As we make our way on the final leg to Melbourne, it's the perfect time to conclude this trip. As with any journey, there are always the good and bad. I shall share some of my observations so you can decide if it's worth it to go out of your way to get on this train. Let's start with the bad and get it over and done with. If you are used to trains like Eurostar, TGV, or even something as mundane as the Heathrow Express, you'd be sorely disappointed by how old and creaky the Overland is. Modern amenities like charging ports are few and far in between. In fact, there are only 10 charging ports in the entire train, and they are all located in the Café carriage. There were only 35 of us today, so what's going to happen if this ran at full capacity? But that's where my bad points end. Service from the cabin attendants were friendly, and you can tell that they loved their jobs. While they weren't overly chatty, a ready smile and warm demeanor is really all you could ask for. The gentle rocking of the carriage while on the move made me very relaxed. I have been to all these towns we stopped at, but looking at them again from another perspective was interesting to say the least. The food provided was of extremely high quality. The packet of cheese and crackers at the end was an exception, but really I wasn't complaining because I was still so full. This journey really felt like boarding a long-haul morning flight from Singapore to London. You get fed a few times at your seat, you get up and walk around the cabin, and arrive some 12 hours later in the evening. This is really what it felt like. I really didn't expect to enjoy this journey that much. I'm actually planning to get back on the Overland in the opposite direction come July, just to see how different that would be. Here we are, Southern Cross Station. 868 kilometers and 10.5 hours later, we've arrived at the Southern Cross. So yeah, I surprisingly enjoyed this journey. a lot more than I expected. So this was the train that brought me over. And that's the Overland. And yeah, this is something I would definitely do again. And in case you haven't started following me, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And don't forget also to hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified the next time when I embark on a trip like this, okay? I will be in Melbourne for a few days, and then I'll be heading on Regional Express Airlines, Rex, on the inaugural flight from Melbourne to Adelaide. So that is how I'm going to return to Adelaide for this trip. So if you do not want to miss that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon, okay? Now, until the next report, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care, all of you. Bye.